Okay, so great. So I've got a bike, kids are ready to go, but wait, how do I what do I even need to teach them in terms of skills and knowing what to do? So Patty, I'm coming to you, my Safe Routes to School instructor. Thank you for taking my calls. Please solve all my problems. What do I do?
Oh, that's a great question. So hopefully your kids have been in a trailer or in a seat behind you or in front of you or on a tandem or on that balance bike for a while. So they've started young and they're getting the hang of things, they're understanding. But get making kids familiar with how a bike works, what's going on with it, braking, how that works. Whether it's coaster brakes, which when you pedal backwards and it stops the bike, or if it has hand brakes or something like that, they need to understand how pedaling moves the bike forward. I think when I was a kid, one of those eureka moments I had, and I still remember my older sister saying, as long as you're moving, you'll stay up. And that was kind of like, oh, okay. So teaching kids about how to stay balanced and all of that. So if you're starting a little bit later, maybe they're at 7, 8, 9, later on learning to ride a bike, getting them comfortable on the bike is key first. So finding places to ride, like even a parking lot, if that's the best you've got, or quiet bike trails or bike paths. We taught my kids on the beach how to ride because there was that incline. We don't have a lot of hills around here, so there's that incline and soft, just packed sand to land on. So that was helpful, getting them comfortable though. And then you start talking to them about the traffic safety, like learning the rules of the road and making sure they're familiar. That's just my point of view from being the mom and Safe Routes to School instructor. And some people may feel like they've got to cram it in their heads first about traffic danger and all the big scary cars. But I think the key is to get kids excited about biking.
Yes,
Not
yes, and
scare them.
yes.
Not scare
Yeah.
them. Yeah. And if they've had pedestrian safety and they've learned about pedestrian safety skills, and they understand some of the rules of the road from the pedestrian point of view. So getting them on a bike should be a little bit more. But yeah, I worry that some parents will scare kids by saying, "Oh, it's just all cars," and "Oh, it's just so dangerous out there."
Well,
Get kids comfy on a bike, and get out and bike a lot as a family.
there are adults who don't communicate, use their hand signals, follow the law. And and my goodness, while bicycling or while driving. And so that's the part where I start to think, okay, what is that? What's the groundwork I've already done teaching my kids the safe thing to do, the appropriate thing to do in these situations? Because kids will be the reflection of the best of us, but also the worst of us. So I think that like teaching them what to do starts before you ever get them out
Modeling
there.
that behavior is so important. Like showing them. So when they've been riding on that seat behind you or in that trailer, I mean, maybe they're not at 2 years old really paying attention to what you're doing, but as a family, if you're saying things like car up, car back, or if you're showing them that you're using your hand signals, they'll model that behavior, or you're modeling that behavior. So they'll follow that lead, and it's normal, it becomes that normal. This is how you ride a bike. It's not just about
Exactly.
the balance and the skill of riding. So as they say, most anybody can ride a bike. It's just the other parts that need to be taught. And I think the best thing is just the kids being exposed to it all along.
Yeah. David, did you teach your kids where did you go to do that?
Well, we're fortunate to live on a dead end street, so they learned right out in front of the house. Really on the balance bike in the driveway. We've got a little basketball court in the backyard, so they would just do the balance bike, and then we've got a nice dead end street. But Patty nailed it. It's all about modeling behavior. And as a bike commuter, I use hand signals just inherently, and so it's cool to see them modeling that behavior. It was my 7 and 9-year-old, when we bike to school, they're for their age, they're pretty good on their bike. And so I let them go just a little ahead, give them a little independence. I can still see them, but it's a 4-way stop. It's kind of the biggest intersection that we cross. And my little 7-year-old, there was a car, and she just, waved the car through. And I thought that was, I love seeing them communicate with, pedestrians and cars and stuff, because that's so important.